Perfect. Sure. Thank you everyone for staying till the end. So today we are going to discuss more on the advanced Microsoft 365 mastery. Here I am talking very specifically how to elevate your productivity. I mean, every one of us are actually using day in and day out when it comes to Microsoft 365 platforms, right? And when I talk about my journey, so I started initially, building things over Power BI, doing more on Automate and things like that. Then I had a strong interest in going with OpenAI models, working with ChatGPT, Copilot, and things like that. And right now, I've had exposure to delivering over 250 plus lectures with specifically 70 plus in GenAI itself. I've had a chance to travel globally as well, delivering lectures in different offices, and my experience have established in such a way where I started a AI/ML company which is into recruitment and upskilling. So I'm a director at Abhilekh Verma Consultancy OPC Private Limited, incubated at Triple IT Hyderabad. Parallelly, I also mentor with Vadhwani Foundation to help young entrepreneurs who have some tech related ideas and who really want to showcase it to the world. A little bit of more of my corporate experience. I've worked as a corporate trainer with KPMG, total of 10 years of total experience, featured in 35 plus international podcasts and media. And I've been a LinkedIn top voice for 2023 and 24. I've written a couple of books, one being me being an introvert. So I've written out Introvert's Hidden Meaning. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy working with a lot of intellect folks. I work closely with Harvard, MIT, Berkeley and Boston early stage startups as well to upskill them in terms of marketing, sales, and IT. Right. So that's a quick introduction about me. Before I go to the topic, you can also check my LinkedIn and Twitter. You can take a screenshot, and you can always reach out for any kind of sessions which you would like to organize or which you would be inviting me, or I can also invite you to my communities. Now, the reason why we are here is, talking about why do we want to learn Microsoft 365 so much in depth, right? I mean, think about how we started learning initially while making PowerPoint presentations to doing advanced skills and strategies to maximize productivity. I mean, day in and day out, we collaborate with our managers, with our bosses, right? In those kind of an environment, right? Now, how do we make sure that we master all those features and functionalities? So we have to unlock the power of 365, and that's what we are going to discuss today, right? So if you can see on the screen, I mean, that's how Microsoft 365 started. They had a bundle, applications as you can see on the screen, starting with Word, Excel, PPT, OneNote, Access, Publisher, Outlook, and then they started getting to the next generation tools, which you can talk about SharePoint, Exchange Online, OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, and Yammer. I've used a lot of Yammer per se when I was at KPMG. We used to send a lot of tasks to each other, and we also used to use a lot of project management tools as well. I mean, there are also tools like Atlassians I've used in the past, like Trello, and even tools like Asana, which has really saved a lot of my time. When it comes to productivity and efficiency, I mean, I'm sure everyone is using here Microsoft Planner, my analytics tools, Flow, right, Sway, and Dwell, right? So these are some of in a nutshell, what I can say, Office 365, which we can really try to use it to streamline our work. I'm sure we use a lot of such of these tools, and if there's any new tool you see on this, I'm sure you'll like to try them out quickly. Now, yeah, I mean, starting with the topic of Microsoft Teams, I mean, as we all are aware, like, on a day-to-day basis, we send a lot of messages, we transfer a lot of files to get feedback from our peers, right? And we have to utilize the right channels and tabs because what generally happens is there's a lot of messages coming, and we want to ensure we know all such features which is available, right? So when it comes to file sharing, or let's say streamlining team collaboration, right? So we use a lot of such files, and we have to make sure that everything is centralized, right? I mean, our communication and the project management we do is centralized. So Microsoft Teams is actually a collaboration hub right now. And I believe like if we know all the features, we can really be super automated, and I'm sure like we can do a lot of work in less time. right? We also know there are some advanced Microsoft Team features. I mean, obviously, just like you, Zoom has a feature where you can do breakout rooms, right? So we can have effective group discussions during our meetings. Let's say, you have a team meeting and you really want to do some networking session with a specific department with specific set of peers. So you can actually do breakout rooms, and you can also integrate this third party apps to enhance the functionality and workflow management, right? I mean, most of us are using a lot of workflow management tools already, but then there's a lot of lovely tools available with Microsoft Teams, which can pretty be integrated. The ones which I was talking about, project management, also can be done. And yeah, I mean, I love Planner tool because the reason being, think about, like, I have to do a lot of tasks in the future and I want to assign it to my team. I want to, track whether they are doing it efficiently or not. So I want to have that kind of a bird eye view, so I use that Planner tool to make sure I get enough kind of, information of whether they're able to use the tool efficiently or not, right? This is my favorite. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us use right now. But then a key differentiator, what I see with OneDrive right now is syncing files across devices. So what happens is when you're trying to be on a go, let's say for most of the time I keep traveling. So whenever I want to, ensure that some of the files I want to put it across some devices. Now I want to access it anytime, anywhere. So putting the sync button on really helps me to make sure I get the file at the right time, right? Even one of the key things I think we shouldn't miss out is the version history feature. So let's say, for example, you have uploaded an Microsoft Excel and that you actually have to present it to investors, or let's say to some senior management folks, and you have to make sure that the version history feature is enabled. So let's say if you actually lose a file which is of a previous version, so I can actually go back and check, what was the last version, and you can try to restore that previous file version. This is one of the things a lot of folks make mistakes. So this is something I wanted to highlight. Make sure you put the version history feature enabled so that you never miss any kind of changes and any kind of previous file version, just in case if there are chances if the file doesn't work, or let's say, you don't get the right file at the right time. And this has actually happened to me when I was having a meeting with a partner, and we had a long elated conversation, and we really wanted to show it to one of a Fortune 500 company about a deck. So we wanted to have this feature enabled because we knew that what if the PowerPoint presentation which we have on the different laptop may not support, or there might be a challenge or something like that. So luckily we had a version history feature, so we could quickly present it using the cloud feature of OneDrive, right? So this is very handy, and I'm sure you can probably get this sorted. So if you have been using OneDrive efficiently, I would recommend it. This is one of the power I have having a version history features that really adds a lot of value. Talking about SharePoint, I'm sure we are here to learn about a lot of tools, but one of my favorite tool when it comes to preparing the site so that I can create tailored workshops for my team. So I was working closely with my sales team. So we have to create a lot of sites where there should be different kind of libraries. There can be different types of assets where people can track project progress, right? So think about you doing a project and you want to check when is the timeline of a project being coming in, and from the time of delivery, doing things of project management. So all those kind of lists you want to leverage, right? So you have to make sure that you have a powerful connection, and this is what is a SharePoint, which does both document management and collaboration. It is kind of an powerful intranet, because why I say intranet is because again it's connected to each other, right? So let's say in an organization you're working and you really want to make sure you have to customize a lot of things. You have to keep updating people. So if you can see a lot of ideas you generate on a day-to-day basis, right? And you want to make sure those kind of ideas don't go away anywhere, so you try to make those lists and libraries. So tomorrow any fresher joins and they also have similar kind of ideas, they want to also jot down some kind of things, probably prepare a pie chart and things like that, so they can also organize it, and they can also get the previous history of those files at one place, right? So SharePoint is one of my favorite tools which I use for productivity, and these are some points which I wanted to highlight. If you're already doing, that's good. If you're not doing, I would highly recommend to utilize it. Now, yeah, coming to Power Automate, I'm sure a lot of us use on a day-to-day basis. If you can see, like, starting with creating a file to getting an approval. I mean, it's hard sometimes to, get rejected when it comes to approvals, but then again, you get a quick notification of what went wrong or what you can improve. Right. So all kind of such triggers and actions, it actually helps me reduce my manual effort. Let's think about I using a normal file like MS Excel and trying to create something on that to send it through an email and probably waiting for that response and things like that. Now with this inbuilt solution with Power Automate, I can literally automate my tasks. I can literally streamline processes, and which actually will help me to increase my productivity, right? I mean, think about all those repetitive tasks which you do on a day-to-day basis, right? So these are some of the things you should do, right? I mean, in terms of whether it is you want to assign it to someone in your team, or let's say you want to bring all those different kind of apps together, so that all those kind of repetitive tasks can be minimized. So creating a kind of a AI builder, or let's say a kind of a flow, really helps to make sure I can really monitor each of the processes and try to streamline each of the things which we are doing right now on a day-to-day basis, right? Yeah, I mean, these are some of the features I use when it comes to Excel for a day-to-day, things when it comes to sales transactions, if you can see on the screen. Right. So, pivot tables and then VLOOKUP are my favorite analysis tools. I'm sure everyone is currently using that because again, you have a lot of data and you really want to analyze a large data sets efficiently, right? Think about a situation when you have 5 or 6 Excel sheets and you really want to, check, what is the actually requirement in terms of visualization features, or what kind of insights you can do it to project to the management, right? I mean, all these insights will help us, showcase a better dashboard, right? I mean, and that is what data visualization features on charts and graphs does at this tool, right? So leveraging these kind of advanced formulas, it not just helps me analyze large data sets efficiently, but also makes people access the data much easily, right? So think about, you have a vice president in your team and they want to showcase it to someone in a different country. Let's say your counterpart is in UK or US and they want to show it to their end customer, right? So it's just a button of click. They can just share it and they can, show this all this kind of dashboards, and it's pretty easy to learn it. I mean, for me to learn pivot tables and VLOOKUP, it took me roughly a month. So you can go through a lot of tutorials, not just on YouTube, but you can also check a lot of courses on Coursera and things like that. I'm a beta tester at Coursera, so some of the programs I do check before they get launched. So one of my favorite program which I was actually checking before it getting it launched was on Microsoft Excel, right? So I believe, like, we should definitely check out some of the programs on these different platforms, and we can definitely try to master these advanced Excel technique. It will take time, regardless of how quickly you can start, but then yes, I mean, there's a lot to learn under this advanced Excel. So this is just a brief about what I have been doing on a day-to-day basis. So for me, sales is one of the parameters which I do. Sometimes it is also about the realization of, let's say, the staff, or the people whom I work with. So if there are some interns, how are they productive and things like that. So all those kind of pivot analysis, table creations can be quickly done using this Power BI and all those kind of amazing tools on Excel which is already available. Yeah, I mean, there are also collaboration features I wanted to highlight just in case you're not using. One of the feature I really love about Excel, as you can see, is, you can actually name your workbook and try to attach a copy instead of, let's say, a PDF and things like that. So this feature I really love because sometimes I'm on the go and I really don't want to open my email and then, attach this feature. So I just attach a copy instead. Parallelly, one of the key things I really like is co-authoring in Excel. So for example, I want someone who is working closely with me, and I really want them to know what's happening on this Excel. So I'll just quickly tag them, or probably give them a chance to being an author, so they can probably work with me simultaneously, just like how you have different things on Google Drive, right? So you can actually track people. Similarly, if I want to write a comment or I want to mention someone, so it's like a real-time feedback and a discussion for me, because a lot of people can actually check what's happening. And then the same thing which I have spoken earlier about the version control feature, so they can check, okay, how was the file on the first instance, and then at the end. So at every level, whenever there is a change of a version, they can actually check what's happening and what's not happening. Then coming to Power BI for data insights, I mean, one of the key features what I really love about Power BI is getting the variety of dashboards and interactive dashboards, as you can see on the screen, right? Now again, think about, you have a lot of raw data sitting across your Excel sheets, right? I mean, think about, there are different departments, as you can see on the first file, and then you have different kind of request coming in from different departments, right? I mean, think about someone who's working closely in IT, and you get a lot of service requests talking about do this, do that. So there's a lot of things piling up for you. So how do you make it more efficient is to transform that raw data into such kind of interactive dashboards and reports, as you can see on the screen, right? Colorful, and you can obviously make it more comprehensive, because the more it is comprehensive, the better are the chances people will try to see it more creatively. And sharing such kind of insights with the stakeholder not just helps me feel better when I'm trying to analyze this, but also gives me an informed decision making. So I can see on the screen, like, you can like, okay, this kind of a percentage is pretty high, this kind of a percentage is pretty low. So I mean, obviously I'll focus on the ones which are higher, and which is on the middle scale. So I'll leave the ones which is on the lower scale, right? When I'm talking about our specific use case, right? So based upon this kind of charts, based upon this kind of count and all this kind of analysis, I can make better informed decision making. And believe me, I was in Singapore, and I had chance to meet a company called Better Team. They are actually developing a solution which is going to integrate with all these kind of tools, where they can predict what will be the going chances of some employee, or let's say the layoff, when it comes to how many employees should be fired. So they are actually doing the work which most of the big threes do, like McKinsey, Boston Consulting go, but they're going to automate it using tools. So I had a chance to meet this founder, and they were sharing me the insights how they have automated. So based upon all the things which we do in an organization, they will track, and they will ensure to know the employer, like, what are the likely chances this employee is going to quit the organization. And that's the level of implementation I've seen with insights, I mean, complementing with the AI part. So I would highly recommend to use it for a great informed decision making, and this really helps us to do a lot of insights. Now, yeah, I mean, this is something self-explanatory. I don't need to talk much about Microsoft Outlook. I mean, we use it on a day-to-day basis. I mean, when it comes to emails, calendars, efficiently managing a task, right? Even there are a lot of inbox folders which we create different ways for better productivity, right? I mean, as you can see on the screen, like, you have different folders, you'll have different kind of people names, right? You can create for better productive. And again, setting rules for incoming emails. I love doing that, because think about, I know, like, I have a set of 5 people whose email I'm expecting this month. So I'll set a specific rule to automate, what kind of, subject lines, if they send, it will go to that folder, or what kind of subject lines, if they don't send, it will not go to that folder. So all kind of, automation I can do for incoming emails as well. So I'm sure we will be getting a lot of emails, and let's say there's a time, think about you getting a appraisal cycle. Okay, so you never want to miss an email from an HR, right? So you would like to make sure that if there is an incoming email, you get a push notification or an alert, right? So those kind of automation you can do. Or let's say there's a feedback you want to give to your peer, or let's say to your boss, right? So those kind of specific emails coming from specific domains, you can probably automate it, so that you never miss those updates, because we get a lot of emails on an Outlook on a day-to-day basis. So we want to make sure we can also do that kind of rule management specifically for those incoming emails, right? If you have any questions, do type in the chat box. I'll look into, and I'll quickly cover up that as well. Now, when it comes to going a little bit deeper, okay, so this is one of the lovely feature I have discovered, few years before, where I really wanted to check someone's schedule. Okay, so for example, one of my partner, he mentioned, like, why don't you set up a meeting with me on Tuesday? Okay, so now logically, generally, if we don't know about this advanced Outlook feature, I would actually have to email my partner to ask, when are they available, and how soon can we, how many minutes the meeting should be, what is the agenda, and all those things. So it's all done more like manual approach. You text them, you call them, you email them, and things like that. But with this advanced Outlook feature, what happens is I can actually see his schedule. I can just put his name. So you can probably check someone's name through a scheduling assistant. So with the help of scheduling assistant, I can check when other times he's available, and if he has made his meetings public, so I can also see what kind of meetings he's doing, and I'll see when is the right time, when is the gap where I can also come in. Now, if there is a investors meeting he has, or let's say if he has a meeting with the board of management of a Fortune 500 client, so I know that day I cannot disturb him because there's a lot of preparation he needs to do. So all those kind of analysis I can do before actually proposing a time, right? So this is a beautiful feature I discovered few years before about scheduling assistant. So I can just check when are times people are available. Similarly, think about, you want to organize a workshop, or let's say you want to do an upskilling thing in your organization. You want to check when people are available. So you can see on this side where I can see all the attendees whom I have added, when are they available, when are they booked, right? So this way there's no clash of like reaching out to people or thinking, okay, like whether they will be available or not. You have to manually go and check. Now with this advanced Outlook feature, I can really be assured, like, look, there's a likely chance they are not going to be unavailable that time, right? So they are going to be available. So that is how you can probably use this feature. And there's a tutorial. I mean, obviously, if you want, you can go to YouTube. That's the most easiest way you can search about these advanced Outlook features about scheduling assistant. But it's pretty easy to learn, and there are a lot of tools we can also integrate with. I mean, that is also something you can think about, because again, think about your calendar events. You want to streamline your daily agenda and things like that. So you can also use a different tools to integrate and do a lot of things like that. Now, yeah, I mean, to do task management, I mean, this is also something, what I can say is people do it. I mean, a lot of people create lists, just like you do it for a generic home purpose, right? I mean, think about, you want to do grocery, you want to do shopping. So all those kind of do tasks which you do, on a day-to-day basis. So you can create different lists, set due dates, and prioritize efficiently. So let's say there's a project we are working with market, and it's a plan happening. So there's a project team being formed in the engineering domain. In manufacturing, we are checking, okay, what are the parts suppliers confirmation, and when is the launch date, right? So this is just one of the IoT project I was working on, which is of manufacturing 4.0, industry 4.0. So we want to make sure, like, we have the hardwares right in time. We want to do the the launch at the right time. So everyone in the team had to ensure, like, they are actually at par with each other. And if there's any confusion, we can also try to do a quick meeting to sort it out. So whatever be the timeline, whatever be from the time your engineering starts to the time when you're doing a launch, everything can be customized using this tool. And you can also do a lot of such kind of syncing across devices. So let's say, for example, you're doing it on a mobile app versus doing on a laptop. So those features also you can get benefit. So sometimes you're traveling and you want to check what's an update at, let's say, manufacturing, whether the initial manufacturing has been completed or not with line. So we would actually like to check on my mobile device. So you can actually go and quickly, mark it if they have completed it. So these are some of the things you can do with this task management tool. I'm sure you've been using a lot of task management tool, but this is one of the things I wanted to quickly highlight. I've already discussed about Microsoft Planner, but this is a little bit much deeper because when it comes to getting them sorted, think about, like, you have a networking event. Okay, so you want to make sure everyone is together, right? And you have to decide what are the things, what are the resource, how much you have to do coding, how much have you have to develop some kind of functional specifications, and you have to decide on in terms of what are the software specifications you have for your team. So this planner tool really helps me to organize tasks into boards. Okay, this is the exact view which I can see with Trello, or let's say Asana. Right, it's the same thing which a Microsoft Planner does. But then the only good part is, I mean, it's very intuitive. Okay, so it just makes me more different with those kind of tools. Like, so I can add a lot of things. I can also obviously make charts, as you can see. I can schedule things, and the good part is, since this is part of Microsoft, right? So I mean, obviously all the other tools can be integrated, right? So that is one advantage which I have. And then obviously, as you can see, a lot of team members. So Adam has been assigned something about determining project scope, right? And then there is a lot of people assigned about conducting need analysis. So Depends on what stage it is and what is the requirement. You can on a real time assign them the work, and it can be integrated with teams in, because again Microsoft team is enabled. So I mean obviously you can have that visibility, at the same time accountability. You can also check and you can text them saying like, look, this was supposed to be done on 31st May, and it's still a low hanging fruit, so when do we get this completed, right? So you can quickly text them on teams and get that update. So it's like doing everything at a single place rather than you depending on sending them email and things like that. So this is an advantage you have it with Microsoft Planner. Now, I mean, this is also something which I really love. I'm sure a lot of folks here would have used Microsoft Forms to create surveys, right? So, I mean, think about like, when you're organizing workshops. So I also run Microsoft Developer Community for Hyderabad. So sometimes I have to organize, physical and offline workshops at Microsoft campus. So I want to also know what kind of topics people are interested in, right? So they want to do design thinking, for example, or they want to talk about IoT, Gen AI, Microsoft platform, Power BI, right? So I sent them a kind of a form quickly with help of Microsoft Forms, and they can really fill up that quick. What kind of sessions they typically enjoy, they can give me those kind of things, and then before I put it on Sessionize or on different platforms, they can also give me about what they really love about. So which stream do they enjoy the most? I mean, most of the time I see IT. You have development, you have power user and business, right? So there are four streams which people really love. So based upon that, I mean, we can create different tracks, just the way how Microsoft Tech Community Pune is doing an amazing job by creating different tracks, right? So these kind of forms will give us a lot of insights, and it can be like a gamification tool as well, because it can be used as a quiz as well sometimes, just like you have Mentimeter and things like that. So you can also design such kind of quizzes, and the good part is it's all like automated, and you really don't have to do a manual work. So everything can be opened and you can put it in an Excel sheet. I mean, there's an option where you can download this Excel sheet as you can see on the screen, right? So a lot of people can come and quickly get that data, and they would be very happy to see this screen and download this data. Now, when it comes to Microsoft 365, one of the key features what I really like about Microsoft 365 is the security part. I mean, because think about now, you're logged out of an account and someone is trying to, log into your account. So there's a multi-factor authentication which really protects you with their sensitive information. So then on the app, there will be a number being shared, and if you have to match that number, you have to click. There will be four numbers they'll give you, and you have to give one of the number, right? So that kind of security really safeguards your Microsoft Teams and features like that. Because again, think about someone getting an access to yours, and then they using that. So I mean, think about those kind of numbers really help to ensure it is with you, the phone is with you, and you're trying to reset a password and things like that, right? And the good part is it always reviews permission. So whenever you are trying to access something from a new laptop, so obviously it will ask a permission to an email, taking a permission like, look, this is an authorized user or this is unauthorized, right? So that kind of an assurity we get with Microsoft 365. And then the final part is compliance tools. I mean, obviously regularly there will be some kind of software updates and things like that, so you have to always make sure you're updated. Even you have to change your passwords frequently, because that is highly recommended. I mean, just not your system, but also your Microsoft apps, because again, there's also kind of security breaches you can have. There's also chances of hacks, and there's also phishing attempts happening, right? So you have to be careful not to click those links and things like that. So security management, identification and access management, information protection, and then finally the threat detection. So all this kind of features you get it with Microsoft 365, and this is one of the reasons where you can elevate your productivity, because you're secure, right? So you're not bothered about getting hacked and things like that. So that's a good thing. Though we will also have outages, we might also get chances like where the apps might not work, and that does happen some of the other times, but that's very rare, right? Where your apps are down, and whether things like one happened with CrowdStrike, right? So it happens very rare, but then the good part is always secured, right? So that's a feature which I think Microsoft is putting a lot of effort to get these things done. Now, one of the key things which a lot of people ask me, like, Abhilekh, I mean, you've been talking more about 365. How about the productivity? I mean, how do we track productivity, right? So, I mean, obviously, to track any productivity, I mean, it should depend on which area you want to track. Okay, so for example, if you want to track from an organization wide perspective, okay, so you want to check how much is the revenue per employee someone is making, how much is the employee utilization. Now most of the folks if in the company are not using MS Teams, are not using let's say Power BI, right? So they are not getting that kind of a proper effective utilization from an organization perspective. And then what's the total cost of workforce, right? So all these licenses, they're very costly, right? So what is the total workforce? So the IT employee or the IT manager has to decide, like how many extra licenses can we have if people leave, how do we utilize those licenses? So all those kind of productivity metrics has to be set up, all those kind of benchmarks has to be done. When it comes to general example, so think about your own self-rated productivity. Okay, so how productive are you when you are using some kind of apps, right? And what is the plan to done ratio? So if you have a Microsoft panel, excellent, but what is the kind of an activity you have actually completed on time, right? So what's the kind of a analysis you can do, and how much is the focus hours per day? I mean, everyone has an option on Microsoft Teams where you can actually put yourself as busy, right? So you can actually focus on your work, right? You can add I mean, it's a strategy, like you can add yourself to the call, and then it will show as busy. So you can probably tell to others, look, I am actually occupied with myself. I'm trying to focus on something, so I'm occupied, right? So how many focus hours do you do per day? That's also something acts as a productivity metrics, and I believe this is something we need to do every single day. Now, if there are some folks here who work on a close basis with customer service departments, so think about getting the first call resolutions to actually getting all those ticket creation to full resolution time, and then supporting ticket at response time. So all this places how much are you productive. I mean, if there is a KPI of saying, like you really need to do XYZ, are you close to that XYZ? Are you falling short of that XYZ? So what can be done better? So all these kind of analytics tools can help. Sales, we have already spoken. I'll speak about scales. Software development, obviously you want to also check defect escape ratio. I mean, how many chances there has been a failure and things like that, or you have just came out of failure and things like that, right? So ultimately, when it comes to productivity gains, we are trying to establish benchmarks to track a lot of things, and we do this to improvise ourselves with over the time. Right now, we have been doing this on a day-to-day basis, right? I mean, now think about, there are so many tools on Microsoft 365. Earlier, there were very limited tools, I remember, right? Now there are a lot of tools. I mean, there are like a lot of tools coming new and now. So how do we keep upskill ourselves, right? So the best way to check which are the tools which we use on a day-to-day basis, right? Parallelly, I mean, one of the key things which I really wanted to highlight is like you really need to install apps in your screen to check how much time are you effective. So for example, I use Time Doctor as one of the tools to check how much is the non-productive hours, how much is the productive hours. So you can look about which are the tools which your organizations allows, and you can check how much is your productivity level, and you can also measure it and try to see whether it has gained or whether it has reduced, right? Now, when we're talking about advanced Microsoft Teams management, I mean, I have already discussed about a lot of things which we are already doing on the Teams, whether it is about security perspective, whether it is about custom app integration, right? I mean, even I really like the feature where I can actually create custom bots, right? So I can actually connect different servers, and I can create different bots, and it can really help me automate my task, right? So, and obviously using the Microsoft Power Platform, it has a lot of power, because again, you can do a lot of things. You can also integrate with a lot of apps and things like that. I have already shared about advanced team collaboration strategies. I'm not going to go much deeper into it, but then I really wanted to highlight there are different channels, threads, and shared notebooks. So these are some features you can use to optimize your team collaboration, right? Because think about, you're managing large teams and you're trying to, do cross-functional collaborations, trying to do productive work environment and things like that. So advanced team collaboration strategies are very important. And then finally, streamlining the team communication. So you really want to do some polls, Q&A sessions, interactive whiteboards. A lot of people I have seen not using the interactive whiteboards. I would highly recommend to use these whiteboards, the fishbone diagrams, which is about knowing the cause and the effect and things like that. It really helps me to drill down about the idea which I am working on, and whether I can probably make it more structured and things like that. All right, so we have to make sure we are engaging our team members getting those one-on-one feedbacks, or let's say as a focus group interviews, having feedbacks together, and then driving collaborative decision making. I mean, that's the whole part of streamlining the team efforts. This is also, a little bit of depth when it comes to SharePoint for enterprise solutions. I mean, we are all using for enterprise, right? So a lot of people ask me like, how do you do complex workflows? So I just wanted to highlight, so to create and customize, you really need to, check what are the regular tasks which you do, right? And what are the approvals you need to give? What are the business processes you want to streamline, right? So you can probably automate your data collection, you can improve your operational efficiency, and you can also design these workflows that can integrate with other applications, right? So this is what you can do with building complex workflows. When you talk about managing large scale document libraries, I mean, you can always think about seamless access, which you can get with SharePoint, right? I mean, all those documents, you can quickly share with each other. You can do content governance and search optimization. You can have advanced techniques for metadata management. So these are some of the things you can do to manage large scale document libraries. And then when you talk about implementing custom SharePoint solutions, based upon the organization specific needs, you can develop custom solutions. Just like I mentioned earlier about intranet portals, right? Knowledge bases, business applications, right? So this is how you can explore the power of SharePoint development tools, frameworks, and best practices for building custom solutions. This is also self-explanatory. I'm sure we have spoken about Power BI and also about different features which we have with Power Automate. Right. Similarly, we have features with Power Query where you can transform, clean, and prepare data from various sources for analysis. Like think about there are different advanced data manipulations such as merging, appending, and shaping data to gain valuable insights. Right. So you can use Power Query for that. You can use Power Pivot for data analysis. If there are complex data models, you need advanced calculations, or you want to generate insightful reports, right? So you can do data slicing, dicing, and really want to uncover hidden patterns and trends. You can also do automation with Visual Basic for applications, the VBA, right? I mean, a lot of us use macros, right? So you want to learn, you want to do custom functions, integrate Excel with other applications so that it increases productivity and efficiency, right? So this is also something we do on a regular basis, but just wanted to highlight so that you can brush up your concepts. Then we talk about Power Platform integration. So these are the three which we were talking about: automate, apps, and BI. Right. So when I talk about automate, we have already talked about how we can do streamlining business processes. So even your wide range of platforms, think about even APIs, you can all integrate them. Power Apps, obviously, without coding, I mean, I can really do a lot of things. I mean, I don't need to be a proper coder to actually create those custom business applications, right? User-friendly interfaces I can get. I can connect data sources and build powerful solutions tailored to the organization needs. And Power BI, we have already discussed about how to bringing everyone together with data-driven decisions, right? This is also a little bit deeper into Power Automate. I'm not going to go much deeper here, but I just wanted to highlight like about connecting data sources, because again, there are different, like sources like Salesforce. So I used to work a lot on Salesforce training and also doing a lot of things on CRM, right? So even with Microsoft Dynamics, right? So Dropbox was also there earlier. I mean, it's also there right now with some of the tools right now. So think about how do you connect that so we can use it for connecting different data sources depending upon whether it supports cloud or on-premises services, right? Designing automated workflows, we're already talking about. Managing and monitoring workflows also we have spoken about, checking about performance metrics, and also if you want to troubleshoot any errors. So we always get some errors. So we want to also make sure we troubleshoot those errors on the right time so that we get the optimal performance, and to make sure if there is any potential issues which is necessary. So it's just a cool environment where people are working with such kind of amazing tools with Power Automate. And obviously it is shareable. Okay, so it's not that the link is like restricted to somewhere, so you can share it across your team members and things like that. So that's an advantage. You can work cross functional teams and things like that, right? And even I've seen like if you want to give an access to an external premises or external company, so that also can be done. You can create a specific code with your IT team, and then you can also share that access, right, with the applications and infrastructure. Little bit on the Power Apps. I mean, before we try to get on a video, right? So Power Apps, I think one of the key things what I really like is about mobile app development. I mean, think about like a day-to-day basis we using smartphones as you can see on the side, right? Or using tablets, right? And even providing all those kind of access on the go. Right, so it just helps me with user-friendly kind of thing. So you can see there's some good data visualization and reports I can see here. There's a feedback mechanism I can see here, right? So everything is quickly creatable and you really don't need to have a laptop to do that. You can actually do it on a mobile app. Right, so that's an advantage you have right now with Power Apps. When it comes to custom form creations, I've already shown different kind of forms you can create. Parallelly, I mean, you can obviously try to integrate it with a streamlining with a streamlined user experience. I mean, depending on your end customer or let's say your own office premises, right? So this is on the Power Apps which I wanted to highlight. The last being Power BI for data visualization and insights. So we also talk about different kind of tools which we use for Power BI, right? I mean, whether it is data preparation and transformation. So a lot of us use and try to import data, right? So think about you importing data from different spreadsheets, databases, and cloud services. So everything can be clean, transformed, and your ideas can be really effectively shaped so that you can really visualize for your management. Similarly, interactive dashboard design. So I mean, you can have a different kind of key performance indicators as you can see on the screen, right? I mean, I'm talking about you're giving them information about the awareness, then they can consider which one are the like the top one of the mind, and then we can think about what is the likely chance of purchase, what are the likely chances of repeat, and then the final part is loyalty, right? So all those kind of analysis I can put on an interactive dashboard design, right? This can help me in creating different multiple reports, right? I can drill down capabilities, I can use filters, I can use data slices. So there's a lot I can do with report creating and sharing. And the final and the most important which I wanted to highlight is the data storytelling and communication. I mean, if you can really learn how to use different kind of artifacts, you can compel different kind of narratives, leverage visual cues and deliver those kind of impactful presentation that can really drive a lot of data informed decisions. So this is like specific I wanted to highlight for Power BI for data visualization insights. Now on the conclusion part, I mean, before showing you the video, so what we covered is everything. I mean, if you can see on the screen, we covered Power BI, we covered Outlook, we covered the features of Office, we covered OneDrive, Microsoft Planner, Skype. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people don't use it. I mean, and then we covered a little bit on Dell, Power Apps, Stream, right? And then obviously the forms which I was talking about, the integration flows and things like that. We also covered on SharePoint. We try to cover Yammer, Teams. So we try to cover a lot of such apps as you can see here of Office 365 to ensure we are all at one level where we are trying to increase our productivity levels and then implement them to make our work more efficient and to make sure like we get the maximum out of the minimum time of timeline which we have, right? I mean, and how do we adapt this, right? So we can make different kind of videos, we can get different kind of resources. Even in Teams we have different kind of resources you can use, you can share to a larger audience and things like that, right? So that is something we can do right now. Before I quickly go to the video, if you have any question, I'll just check just in case if anyone has any question. I will just check the chat. Okay, so I think I am assuming there are no questions. So let me quickly do one thing. Let me now play a video. Okay, so I've just used AI to get this video, and I hope you like the video, before we end the session. So let me know if you can see and hear.
The modern workplace thrives on dynamic tools that facilitate collaboration, communication, and efficiency. Enter Microsoft 365, a suite of applications designed to empower organizations in today's digital landscape. This essay will explore key components of Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, Excel with Power Query and Power Pivot, and the Power Platform, focusing on advanced strategies to maximize their potential. From streamlining communication and automating tasks to analyzing data and building custom solutions, mastering these tools is paramount for organizational success. Microsoft Teams has become the central hub for team communication and project management. Beyond basic chats and file sharing, mastering advanced features can significantly enhance team productivity. Implementing team templates can standardize workflows across different projects. Integrating project management apps like Asana or Trello directly within Teams can centralize task management. Utilizing shifts in Teams can effectively manage frontline worker schedules and communication.
As organizations scale their use of Microsoft Teams, establishing robust governance policies becomes crucial. This involves defining clear guidelines for team creation, naming conventions, and data storage. Implementing data loss prevention policies within Teams can prevent sensitive information leaks. Integrating Teams with existing CRM or ERP systems through custom apps can automate data flow and improve operational efficiency.
Section 4. SharePoint. Building a centralized knowledge hub for your organization. SharePoint acts as the backbone for document management and knowledge sharing within Microsoft 365. Building intuitive intranet sites with SharePoint allows organizations to centralize information access for employees. Leveraging SharePoint workflows can automate document approvals, reviews, and other business processes. Advanced features like metadata and content types enable efficient organization and retrieval of information within large document libraries.
Section 5. Unlocking Data Insights. Excel's Power Query and Power Pivot for advanced analysis. Excel, with its powerful data analysis capabilities, becomes even more potent with Power Query and Power Pivot. Power Query enables users to connect, clean, and transform data from various sources with ease. Power Pivot allows for the creation of sophisticated data models, handling millions of rows of data with speed. These tools empower users to uncover hidden insights and make data-driven decisions.
Section 6. Power Platform, streamlining operations and automating business processes. The Power Platform, comprising Power Automate, Power Apps, and Power BI, enables organizations to build custom solutions and automate workflows. Power Automate allows users to automate repetitive tasks by connecting different applications and services. Power Apps empowers citizen developers to build custom applications without writing code. Power BI provides interactive dashboards and reports for data visualization and analysis.
Section 7. Conclusion: empowering businesses through technological proficiency. In today's digital age, mastering tools like Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, Excel, and the Power Platform is paramount for organizational success. By leveraging their advanced functionalities, businesses can streamline communication, optimize workflows, make informed decisions, and ultimately drive efficiency and growth. Investing in training and development for these tools will empower employees to fully embrace the potential of a truly modern and connected workplace.
Great. I think, yeah, so that's all from my end. And if you would have any questions, happy to answer your questions. I just wanted to complete it before time, and we are, I think, 10 minutes we have for any Q&A you have, and you can also scan my code if you want to connect me over LinkedIn. So yeah, that's all from my end, and happy to take any questions if there. I know it's a lunch time and you've been waiting to go, but yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you.